Hello and welcome to this edition of our show. I'm Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. I am so pleased today to be here with Dr. Steve Buuck, CEO of Faith Lutheran Middle School and High School. Dr. Buuck, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you'd include us. I look forward to chatting with you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so impressed with Faith Lutheran. And as the CEO, tell us a little bit about the school and some of the curriculum that you offer.
Yeah, thanks. Just to give some brief history, we're in our 45th year, so it's kind of an anniversary year for us. We're excited about that. We started in 1979 right here in downtown Las Vegas at First Southern Baptist Church over by Lovett's Custard with 43 6th and 7th graders, and moved around to a couple different campuses and landed on our Summerlin campus 26 years ago in 1998. Had grown to about 400 students by then, and since then we've just seen really exponential growth, where we started this year with 2,147 students, the largest Protestant school in the United States of America. So God continues to bless us far beyond what we could have ever imagined.
To what do you attribute the success of the school and the sheer size, being the largest in the United States?
Yeah, I think being excellent, number one, is a key. We're in a unique industry. I always challenge intelligent people like you to say, what other product or service in the entire U.S. economy does one organization charge $15,500 and 96% of the state of Nevada goes to school for free? So I'm competing against free. I don't view the private schools as my competition, like the Clark County School District, which is a great blessing that we have in this country, that there's free public education in the K-12 space, and yet, so we know that we have got to be so good that people are going to drive by free schools, many of which are good schools, and choose to pay us. So that kind of lights us every day. Like, we know we're one day away from 2,100 Faith Lutheran kids going, oh, that school's free? I had no idea I'm going to leave Faith. So you've got to make a commitment to just be outstanding. You can't pump the brakes. You got to be forward thinking every day. We have a motto that we're going to be better today than we were yesterday, and I think that's in the DNA of our faculty and staff and our coaches and our administrators, and I think that's really what's helped drive us more than anything else. Being excellent, and then secondly, and I have to say this, just loving kids. Like, just love them when they get dropped off. Kids, a lot of people when I fly in airplanes are like, what do you do for a living? And I would tell them I work in a middle school and a high school, and invariably they'll say, don't you have any marketable skills? Like, how can you work with kids today? I'm like, you don't know the kids we get. This generation is remarkable. And what I found is, if you love them first, they will run through a wall for you. And that's really, I think, been the secret at Faith Lutheran.
I love your enthusiasm and your passion for not only education, but especially for the kiddos.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the Vegas Chamber, education is so important to us on a very basic level, but then also, in terms of working with our students to grow them into a workforce talent pipeline. Absolutely. And so forth. I know you have an amazing curriculum at Faith Lutheran, and so that's so important as we prepare our kids for an eventual workforce. So talk to us about the extensive curriculum that you have.
Yeah, thank you, and I love that you used the word prepared, because our mission statement that I wrote, 13 years ago, I'm just an old former dumb football coach from Texas, so when I got there, our mission statement was a paragraph long. I couldn't memorize it, nobody knew what it was, so we distilled it into 4 words. Everyone prepared, everyone saved, and the saved part is the Christian part of our mission, of course, but we want kids prepared for life deeper in the 21st century. Frankly, I want my baseball team prepared for their game this afternoon. I want our 6th grade biology students prepared for their quiz on Friday. I want our 8th graders prepared for high school. Schools prepare kids, and so what we've tried to do is design a curriculum where kids can find their passion. It is so diverse. Let me deal with our high school in particular. So if you guys flash back to your high school days, in our case you have 8 classes a year, okay? You take 8 classes a year. Our kids who are signing up for classes next year have 210 completely different classes to choose from. So the depth and breadth and difficulty and uniqueness of our curriculum is unmatched. I've never heard of a school that is that many. I call it blood-sucking educational capitalism. Like, the strong classes survive and the weak ones we just weed out. And so if you would go to our website, the uniqueness of our classes is really, really special, and it's rigorous. We offer, I think, 23 advanced placement classes, right? So kids can earn college credit. We have dual enrollment classes with Concordia University out in Nebraska, where kids can also earn 3 college credits while they're taking their classes. And so, when you take classes like, calculus AB and calculus BC and molecular genetics and physics and There's stuff that I can't even spell at the school. Thank God our kids are smarter than I am, because they dominate in those areas, and it's really exciting to watch. But we found that our curriculum prepares kids no matter what type of school they go to. And I can name drop all the sexy schools in the country. Our kids get into the Ivies and Cal Berkeley and USC and Notre Dame, right? They get into all those schools. But I'm equally proud that kids stay here in town and go to UNLV and go to UNR, 2 great state schools. And I'm proud that they go to little private schools that I've never even heard of. I think in the last 5 years, our kids have been accepted into over 500 different universities in all 50 states and multiple foreign countries. So I'm not a Harvard guy. I don't want to prepare kids just to get into Harvard, right? We prepare kids to get into the school that is the best fit for them, and I think our curriculum has proven to be able to do that.
Well, and you were telling me about some of the specialty academies that you have, which are super exciting as well.
It's a whole nother area. So I think we have 8 academies. One of them is not called an academy, but it's called the Conservatory of the Fine Arts. So kids are doing ballet and tap and jazz and ballroom dancing, and they're doing 2D and 3D art, and they're doing musical theater, and they're doing orchestras and bands and guitar classes, and we have electronic music production, right, for those kids who have those beats in their head and want to get music out digitally. And so there's all kind of things in that. And then we have an Academy of Business and Entrepreneurship. And one thing I love about it, like if you could come to our campus, we built a room that has a New York Stock Exchange ticker in there. There's a mural of Wall Street. There's world clocks. There aren't 25 chairs, 5 rows of 5. They're board tables, so kids are working in collaborative spaces around it. And so we've tried to design these spaces where kids feel like businessmen and women when they're taking their classes in there. We have a law academy. So we have a full-blown courtroom at our school, so kids practice in there, and then they have to compete on our mock trial team or our Model UN team. We have the STEM Academy, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and we may talk about the new building that we're going to build, that we're going to break ground this fall, which I'm really excited about. And 60% of our top 25 kids, all of whom have over 4 O's, choose STEM careers, right, who are going into those, right? So we think that's really important. We have an Academy of Hospitality and Tourism. I don't know that you can, call yourself a college prep or a workforce-ready prep school in a town like Las Vegas and not be into hospitality and tourism, right? We dominate the world in that. Let's see, we have a flight academy, an aviation school now, so we have over 100 kids becoming pilots.
And that's such an in-demand career right now, too.
As you noted, and to be honest with you, Mary Beth, the way it came to us is one of our parents, like 4 years ago, came into my office with my high school principal at the time and said, boy, did you see that article in USA Today? There's going to be a pilot shortage in this country of like 800,000 pilots. And we're like, hey, let's start a flight school. And so we launched into this, no pun intended, and again, no pun intended, it's really taken off. We teach avionics also. We teach, you can get the FAA drone pilot's license because that's becoming such a big thing for military and commercial use. But let me give you one quick story about a young girl who just graduated from Faith Lutheran in May. When she shook my hand at graduation at Allegiant Stadium, she had her private pilot's license, she was instrument rated, she had her commercial license, and she was a certified flight instructor by the time she shook our hand and walked out of there. So it's really cool to see all the different opportunities that kids have there.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to this edition of Taking Care of Business. I'm Mary Beth Sewald with the Vegas Chamber. I'm so thrilled to have Dr. Buuck, the CEO of Faith Lutheran High School and Middle School, with us. We are having the best conversation. I'm so thoroughly impressed with everything you have to offer at the school. Tell us a little bit about the Wealth Consulting Group Business and Entrepreneurship Academy.
Yeah, so Jimmy Lee, who's a friend of Faith, he is the president and CEO of the Wealth Consulting Group. He's here in town. He's a UNLV grad and been here, and his daughter went to our school, and I see him on Fox Business News a lot nationally, so he's a well-respected guy. He donated enough money to sponsor our Business and Entrepreneurship Academy, and so we have classes ranging from kind of an introduction to business where kids learn finance and marketing and accounting and that, and then they can move into more entrepreneurial classes where they have to start their own businesses and or write, a 25-page business plan as if they were going to start it. They compete in DECA, which is something that's been around since even when I was a little kid, and it's a crazy acronym, but it's called the Distributive Education Clubs of America. It's a boring, goofy name, but what it is awesome, and it's a business competition for kids. State of Nevada has one. I actually chaperoned it this year with I think we took 75 students down there. They're in fashion merchandising and sports apparel and 30-second elevator speeches and just solving problems that they have 2 minutes to sit in front of businessmen and women in Las Vegas and pitch these things to it. And I think 18 of our kids are currently in Anaheim at what they call the internationals, where DECA from all around the world come and you compete against the best. And so our Business and Entrepreneurship Academy helps prepare kids, to get into business, whether they're going to truly be entrepreneurs or if they get more into the corporate side of business and that sort of thing. And so we have a lot of kids that go into college to study that, and Lord willing, they're going to come back here or stay here and serve this community.
It really seems like Faith Lutheran gives students a real very hands-on approach, that they have practical skills when they come out of Faith Lutheran.
No, that's a good way to describe it. I don't want to be the school that layers 4 hours of homework on a kid. I want them to have a practical experience. We want them to have a practical experience. Well, another thing I should talk about real quickly, since you're saying that, is we have a 3,200 square foot research greenhouse. The kids take classes in there, and there's hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaponics. There's robotic farming where you code the robot, it plants the seeds, it waters, it weeds every day. So those kids are in there learning how aquaponics actually works. That you actually take the urine from these huge koi that we have, and we strain the ammonia out of it, and you mix it with nitrites, it becomes nitrates, and you're growing tomato plants and all sorts of things in there. It's a remarkable, just hands-on opportunity that kids have. So that's really what we try to do.
That is so amazing. I don't know of any other school that is quite like Faith Lutheran, so it's just such an exciting opportunity for kids.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we feel blessed. I use a term, we're going to build spaces and places for adults and kids to do amazing work. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to build a nice school so a bunch of rich kids have cool stuff. That's not it. And by the way, we have kids from all 65 zip codes who go to our school. All 65 zip codes, and about 300 of our students are on need-based financial aid, and I'm proud of that. I love the diversity, because again, our mission statement says everyone prepared, everyone saved. It doesn't say Lutheran kids prepared, Lutheran kids saved. It doesn't say rich kids prepared, rich kids saved. It doesn't say really smart kids prepared, really smart kids saved. We have 10 kids who go to our school that either have Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, traumatic brain injury. It's a real special program that we have, and I love seeing that. We probably have another 150 kids who need resource. They have diagnosed learning difficulties. They may have dysgraphia, dyslexia, they may need extended time testing, perhaps they have ADHD or ADD, and so we have a whole program for those kids. So I love that about our school. I don't want to be just the one-size cookie-cutter school. I am so proud.
What does it take for students or families to, what should they do if they're interested in finding out more about Faith Lutheran?
Well, they can certainly check out our website, www.faithlutheranlv.org, or they can certainly call our school. Our admissions team is amazing. Michelle Dwyer and her team does a great job. We'd love to give you a campus tour and kick the tires and get to know us. And, I always tell people that our campus, which is really stunning, that's what wins the admissions game, but what wins the retention game. The reason why kids stay and love it is because of the people. It's not all about fancy programs and nice buildings. It's about people. It's about love, genuinely loving middle school and high school kids. And we have 232 people that bring their A game every day to love those kids.
And Dr. Buuck, speaking of that, teachers, we talk all the time, and we see it in the news about teacher shortages or what have you, and teacher pay. Are you experiencing any of those issues, and how do you attract good quality teachers at Faith Lutheran?
It's a great question. We've been somewhat fortunate that a lot of our teachers come from our current teachers who know teachers at other schools. Could be here in the Valley, but it certainly could be at other Lutheran or Christian schools around the country. That's been our biggest thing. Listen, you don't have 10 people standing in line to teach AP Calculus. You just don't have that, right? That's always been the case. And I think COVID was hard on all of us, and I think teachers were heroes. And Faith Lutheran did not blink in COVID. We opened in August of 2020, and I think we're being rewarded for that, because people saw that we were not afraid. We were going to keep people safe, do things the right way. We weren't going to be flippant about this thing. None of us were totally sure in August of 2020 if it was the right thing to do. I was 80% sure it was the right thing to do. But I think people saw that we were real leaders during that time, and I believe we're being rewarded for that. But as you noted, teachers are the key. I try to tell everyone, we're a big school with a lot of employees and a lot of non-teaching employees. And I try to tell them, look, we're all important parts of the body of Christ. But when it gets right down to it, teachers that's where you make or break a school. And we are so blessed. I was just at our academic awards nights, Monday and Tuesday. this week, high school on Monday, and last night was middle school, and to see our teachers, the way they honor our kids and the way they pour into them, and when I see the relationships, I just sit there with goosebumps going, what a place, because of our faculty. I mean, they're remarkable people.
Well, I have to commend you on the teacher aspect, because you're right, they do make or break an organization, and certainly they're so important in a child's life. I could name all of my teachers through elementary, junior high, and high school. So you mentioned the word leadership as well. How does Faith Lutheran foster student involvement in leadership? Because as we're preparing our kids for the workforce, the skill set is important, but those leadership skills are just incredibly important too.
There's no question. I mean, you and I in our own careers can think of just the ways we've been called to lead and stepped up and been able to lead, and what a blessing that is, and how important it is. So I think we have a lot of things. In our middle school, we have about 830 students in our middle school, and they're divided kind of Harry Potter-ish into 8 houses, and they all have these kind of cool Greek names and colors, and there's all kind of competitions, and each of those 8 teams have 3 leaders in them. So there's 24 kids who are designated that you are going to lead the charge this entire year through your house. In high school, we break up our students about once a month into what we call echo groups. They're kind of small group. They're somewhat Bible study-ish, and yet more, how do you make a big school be small? So we put 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores, 3 juniors, and 3 seniors in these groups. And then there's a little curriculum. We meet once a month for about 45 minutes, and there are echo leaders. So there's 2 kids of the 12 who are trained on Mondays to be ready to lead their groups on Fridays. Then you think about the classic things, the drum major or marching band, the football team captain, right? The leader of the tech crew for all of our incredible musicals and shows. You think of all the athletics and all the extracurricular ways that there are just natural leadership positions in those. And so we do spend time trying to build up leaders, create leaders. We have our director of student life, who happens to be my beautiful wife. She has a way that if you're not in sports or the fine arts, and we're big in both of those, we have, I think, 76 clubs. So if she reaches out to kids who don't stay after school from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I think it's critical that you stay after school 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Colleges demand that. When you and I went to college, they really only cared about our ACT and SAT score and our grades. Now every college is saying, how'd you make your school a better place? How'd you make your church a better place? How'd you make your community a better place? And you better not say, I go home and study every day. They want kids making a difference. And so we have Cupcake Wars Club, we have Card Trick Club, we have BMX Bike Riding Club, we have a fishing club at Lake Mead out of Faith Lutheran. So my wife's job is to make sure that kids find their passion, and then she has a way that says, okay, Mary Beth, you want to have a baseball card collecting club? Here's I'm going to walk you through the process and how you're going to lead that initiative, how you're going to find an adult kind of mentor for you, how you're going to advertise to kids, how you're going to reserve the space after school. And so kids, when they go to college, can say, hey, I'm a leader. I started the baseball card collecting club at my school, and this is some of the things I did. And then how am I going to keep it sustainable when I leave, so that this thing just doesn't die out? So we're conscious about that, and we're conscious about leadership, and we're conscious about providing opportunities for kids to get involved after school. Because I don't want to say school's no fun from 7:30 to 3, because at Faith Lutheran it kind of is, but man, school's really cool from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, right? We all remember whether you were in the band, the choir, the service club, the NHS, a football team, a dance team. That's where those memories are made, and we want to make sure we provide opportunities that every kid can find his or her passion after school.
Well, speaking of passion, I mean, your passion is just incredible. And my next question was going to be about graduation rates and the stories you're telling me about how fun school is, but how they're learning and how practical it is. Obviously, that's got to be a huge role in your graduation rates.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, our graduation rates essentially are 100%, right? Everybody's going to graduate. There might be some kids that, for academic reasons, we have to, excuse at some point in their high school career. It's not often, though, because we have so many adults who are packaged around them to help them succeed. But I would say in a normal year, 98 to 99% of our kids go to college. Over 90% of them go to four-year colleges. And so one of the advantages I tell people about Faith Lutheran, prospective parents, are your kids are going to be surrounded by other kids who want to go to college. And I could segue a whole session on why I think as the cost of higher ed rises, I think we all have to take a look and say, is the ROI really worth it in all cases? Because You can take a Mooc, for example, a massively open online course. You can take all of Harvard's business classes. You can go to school. They're free. You don't get a degree from them, but you learn it. And at the end of the day, I'm more interested in qualified people than I am certified people. So even though I'm proud of our high, four-year college attendance rates, there could be a time that if we start getting kids into some of the trades where they can make really good incomes in the trades, because we're going to need that forever, or kids just being entrepreneurs. And there's plenty of successful people that you and I can name in this country, in the top 10 richest people in this country that didn't go to college, right? So I'm proud of it, and yet I'm aware that it may not be for everybody, and that's okay. We're not going to be mad and upset about that for anything. But what I've seen, just even anecdotally, is the number of kids who come back and go, Dr. Buuck, college is so easy, because Faith Lutheran was so hard and I'm so well prepared, and I don't care what school they're going to. They're like, my kids don't even know how to write. They don't know how to study hard for tests. Faith Lutheran's a grind. It's not easy academically. The demands are high on our students, and but I also believe that the higher you set the bar for middle school and high school kids, they're going to jump over it. They want to jump over it. They're competitive in their souls, and so I think the curriculum has proven just the sheer breadth and number of schools that kids get into and how well they do. And then I see them go on to different things, and it's into med school and law school and becoming great parents and great community members and great businessmen and women. That's I'm proud of it, and yet I'm aware that it may not be for everybody, and that's okay. We're not going to be mad and upset about that for anything. But what I've seen, just even anecdotally, is the number of kids who come back and go, Dr. Buuck, college is so easy, because Faith Lutheran was so hard and I'm so well prepared, and I don't care what school they're going to. They're like, my kids don't even know how to write. They don't know how to study hard for tests. Faith Lutheran's a grind. It's not easy academically. The demands are high on our students, and but I also believe that the higher you set the bar for middle school and high school kids, they're going to jump over it. They want to jump over it. They're competitive in their souls, and so I think the curriculum has proven just the sheer breadth and number of schools that kids get into and how well they do. And then I see them go on to different things, and it's into med school and law school and becoming great parents and great community members and great businessmen and women. That's really important to us.
Well, it's fascinating to hear you mention the trades. Is that something that, did you say you're looking to potentially start something?
Yeah, and maybe we can segue into the STEM building we're going to build. So we're going to launch the most ambitious project in the history of our school. And we have built a lot of things on that campus, but we're going to break ground this fall on about a $50 million, 100,000 square foot LEED certified STEM building for science, technology, engineering, and math. So large robotics rooms and molecular genetics labs and environmental science labs, and there's all kind of cool things. But we're also building a 4-bay auto garage that I'm really excited about for two reasons. Number one, we may have guys and gals that want to get into that. But number two, I wish I knew more about cars. I'm kicking myself that I have to pay an obscene amount of money every time I take my car, and it breaks my heart. And cars today are really STEM machines. I mean, they are computers. They are not my dad's automobile. They are sophisticated machines that I think our STEM kids can get a lot of value out. So we're excited about this project. It's going to allow us to grow, of course, because we're building 32 more classrooms, so we'll be able to release some of that real pent-up demand. We have hundreds and hundreds of kids on our waiting list every year that we just can't get in. And if you let me just keep boring you, we also started something called Flow, Faith Lutheran Online. So now we have a fully online high school program that you can, so we have kids who want to be, actors in LA, but they still want to go to Faith Lutheran. Well, they can get their degree from us and never have to step foot on our campus. But we also use Flow, Faith Lutheran Online, to say, maybe you have a unique schedule. We have some football players who really love to work out in the morning. So they're online in the morning classes, and they only show up for their afternoon classes. They're called hybrid students, where you take some of your classes online, and you can do 7 and 1, 6 and 2, 5 and 3, 4 and 4. So some kids come to school every other day because they take their Maroon Day classes, online, and it's asynchronous. So they don't have to be online at 8:02 when class starts. If their minds are wired like most high school kids are at 11 o'clock at night, they can do their work at 11 o'clock at night. And then that also opens us up, of course, to there's 8 billion people on this planet spinning around the sun, so anyone can go to Faith Lutheran now. So we're excited about that. And the more classes you take online, we start reducing your tuition. So let's say you go to school online fully and you live in Las Vegas. Instead of paying $15,500, you pay about half of that, $7,900. You can still be in our plays. You can still be on the dance team. You can still play football or basketball or softball or track. You can do any of that. You're a fully Faith Lutheran kid. You just happen to don't show up to school every day. And again, there's hybrid kids that are kind of mixes of that. So I'm really excited. So our new building coupled with Flow is allowing us to serve more and more of the Valley students who are coming to us for our Faith Lutheran education.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Dr. Buuck,
Yeah.
CEO of Faith Lutheran High School and Middle School, thank you so much
thank you.
for being with us.
Yeah.
It's been thrilling to hear
thank you.
about your groundbreaking educational process. It makes me want to go to Faith
Yeah.
Lutheran. I'd love to be able to go. So thank you again so
You're
much
most
for all
welcome.
you do for our kids. We appreciate you.
Sure.
And thanks for being a great part of the Vegas Chamber.
Absolutely. We're proud to be part of it, and we're proud to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's no better city in the world for us and our school, and we're just honored that we get to play a small part in the success of this amazing town.
Well, thank you again. Appreciate you being
Yeah.
here today,
You're
Dr.
most
Buuck,
welcome.
CEO of Faith Lutheran High School and Middle School. Thank you.
Yeah.